The Jamaica Loft is excellent way of designing your child's bedroom that is ready for the beach or for the vacation home. The steps make it easy for your child to store their stuff, hence keeping the room neat and arranged at all times. It's designed with long-lasting vertical bar durable material to ensure that your kids vertical bar child vertical bar children vertical bar youth does not destroy vertical bar tier, it therefore, to keep your home and their room as exquisitely designed as you have done. The stairs are comfortable to ensure that your child will be safe as they get up and down a loft bed. Whether you are just into Jamaica style or looking to go the extra mile for your vacation home,
effectively embedded a design firm of sorts inside the gallery, with offices in view of consumers as well as presentations rooms for private meetings and presentations. It's a big investment for RH, and we think we can make it an even bigger presence now that we see what's happening in New York, he said, adding that, long-term, interior design could serve as the foundation for a broader platform of services, including architecture and landscape architecture, all things shoppers see when they visit on the retailer's newest stores. They're not consumer-facing businesses. Friedman said, "They're like these businesses that you can't see, you have to ask somebody, who is our interior designer, or you research it online." RH thinks it can change that and disrupt what Friedman called a massively fragmented business with something along the lines 13,800 interior design firms averaging $1 million in volume, and more than 90% of them employing 8 people or less. "We think it's a huge opportunity," he said. "If we think about it as a separate business and actually build a world-class interior design firm, it's also a massive amplifier to the business we're in. And yes, eventually RH will charge for the service as it gets better at it. Nobody values anything that's free." Friedman said, "It gives you the perception the quality is not good. Please feel free to email or call me with all of your retail news and tips, including expansion news, successful merchandising and marketing strategies, and anything else you would like to see covered by Furniture Today. Contact me directly at sengel@furnitureetoday.com or 336-605-1129. RH CEO Gary Friedman is fond of referring to the luxury home furnishings retailer as a brand with no peer, with the best operating model in the industry. On the earnings call, following the release of fiscal first quarter earnings that blew past guidance and analysts' expectations, he offered some commentary on the type of big picture thinking and execution that has put RH in this position and where it's heading next. Here are just a few takeaways. RH focuses on the big rocks. RH's growth and business strategy, he said, isn't as dependent on the ups and downs of the stock market and the high-end housing market as one might think, at least not in the long term. Sure, massive stock market drops like the 800-point single-day crash of the Dow this past December impacts the buying plans of affluent consumers and thus, RH's business, Friedman said, but they're viewed more as short-term inconveniences it simply needs to navigate, not overreact to. "We prepare for everything," he said. "The market happens, things go down, tariffs happen, they go from 10 to 25, all inconvenient things, all things that are somewhat distracting. All things we have to stop and pay attention to and react to, but not things that we want to control the narrative," he said. In contrast, Friedman said some businesses let these distractions actually become their focus. That's why, he said, he gets impatient with some of the questions on these calls, the ones that focus on what he called the little rocks and not the big rocks, because you don't create big value moving the little rocks around on the table, you trade value identifying the big rocks and focusing on them, he said. It takes tremendous effort by an organization, but if you move one of the big rocks, you can tilt the whole table, and all the little rocks will come. I think that's why you see, in the face of a lot of volatility and other changes, that our operating margins keep expanding. Our earnings keep getting better. The things we have more control over than less control over are improving and not by a little. The next big rock may be international expansion." In the earnings release, Friedman said RH sees a clear path to $4 billion to $5 billion in North America revenues and an international opportunity that could lead to RH becoming a $7 billion to $10 billion global brand. Quote, "On the call, however, he said the international part of that projection is super conservative, instead, think more along the lines of $20 billion. Right after Game 6 of the NBA Finals tonight, Friedman and 9 other RH leaders were to board a plane to begin a 10-city European trip to finalize real estate deals for its global expansion. On the call, Friedman was being shushed by other execs afraid he was sharing too much but not before he said the company is close on location deals in 2 unidentified European markets. It's also looking at South America, Australia, China and the Middle East. The reason Friedman thinks this will be much more than $2 billion to $5 billion in incremental annual revenues is because RH is building what it believes will become the most premier dominant global home brand, he said, and when you look at other dominant, global luxury brands outside of home furnishings, its U.S. sales to international sales rate is more like 25% U.S. to 75% other. If we believe we can be $5 billion in North America, then we should be able to be $20 billion if our model looks like other models. Friedman said. And there's no reason it shouldn't because the high-end demographic spends exponentially more on the home, interior design disruption. When asked about the interior design piece of RH's business and whether the company has any plans to eventually charge for it, Friedman indicated the retailer has unearthed another big rock. In the recently opened RH New York, the company, for the first time,